40 years ago, the Shi family was not as powerful and influential as it was now. It was similar to the Black Tiger Gang. The reason why they had their huge scale today was because the previous patriarch of the Shi family was very powerful. He was a formidable character. Through annexation, suppression, roping in, and destruction, he led the Shi family to build up their fame and become the number one in the Western District. Su Jingxing discovered through Wan Rong's memories that Wan Rong greatly admired the previous patriarch of the Shi family. 30 years ago, he was already dreaming of entering the Shi family. Unfortunately, the Shi family didn't not have Wan Rong in their sights at all. When he entered the 7th grade and made a name for himself, he was then accepted. The first level of the cold smoke mantra was his introductory gift. Unfortunately, it was too troublesome for Su Jingxing to practice this internal exercise. Let's wait for the 9 steps trampling heaven instead. The location of the 9 steps trampling heaven was not in the Changyang prefecture but the Luori prefecture, which was located in the westernmost part of the U-nation. Su Jingxing had to take a plane to get there. And not a direct flight at that, he had to make 2 transits. Therefore, he had to apply for leave again. Luckily, Su Jingxing had become a full-time employee, and he often helped the others with their shifts, so it wasn't hard for him to get a week off. Gu Bo was still concerned about whether something had happened. He told Su Jingxing that he must go to him if he needed help. Su Jingxing expressed his gratitude but had to find an excuse to cover up. He couldn't possibly say that he was going to the Luori prefecture to get a high-level martial art manual that was suspected to be a true energy internal exercise, could he? Su Jingxing still wanted to continue extracting cards at the crematorium. Before setting off, Su Jingxing followed his plan and made a trip to the valley in the Green Cloud mountain range where the big white goose was. At night, he waited for the big white goose to fall asleep. Then, with the help of the silvery white glow it emitted, he checked the little wooden sword. And he did find something. This strange wooden sword was indestructible, unable to be burnt by fire, made wet by water, or buried by soil. Under the silver-white glow, a layer of hazy green light appeared on its surface. The green light even seemed to be alive. Under Su Jingxing's gaze, it constantly twisted and shook, releasing wave-like ripples. As for what was going on, Su Jingxing could not figure it out, nor could he understand. Helpless, he could only keep it in his storage space. After bidding farewell to the big white goose, he returned to Qinghe City and took a plane to Luori Prefecture. He made 2 transits in between. Setting off at 6 in the morning, at 3 in the afternoon the next day, he arrived at the city nearest to the 9 steps trampling heaven's location, New Fate City. The reason why it took so long was because the plane had to take a detour. The linear distance between Qinghe City and New Fate City was 2,500 kilometers. However, there were several danger zones with chaotic magnetic fields in between, as well as 3 airspaces with avian mutated beasts. To pass through safely, the plane had to take a detour. It took him more than a day and a night to arrive, and this was still thanks to the fact that no avian mutated beasts had harassed them. Su Jingxing had taken a week off just in case of such situations. After arriving at New Fate City, things became much simpler. The 9 steps trampling heaven was hidden at Sunset Cliff, which was 50 miles away from New Fate City. The Sunset Cliff extended for a long stretch of more than 800 miles. The highest point on the surface was 5,000 meters, the lowest, 2,000 meters. Underground, the deepest part reached 1,000 meters. It was truly a natural chasm. In reality, after crossing Sunset Cliff, one would reach the outer region of the boundless mountain range. In order to guard the barbarians, U-Nation had set up several observation points on the peaks of Sunset Cliff. Su Jingxing didn't know if there were any observation points near the location of the 9 steps trampling heaven. Just in case, he stayed in New Fate City for half a day and hacked into the government system to confirm the locations of the observation points. After he found them, he compared them to the location of the 9 steps trampling heaven. In the end, he concluded that it would not affect him. That was enough. Early the next morning, Su Jingxing bought a motorcycle, filled it with petrol, and left the city for Sunset Cliff. Arriving at the predetermined location, he hid the motorcycle and activated the secret ability, Advanced Hearing, to make sure that there was no one around. Then, he executed the 8 steps Rising Dragon, stepped on the steep cliff and ran at top speed. With the 8 steps Rising Dragon at the peak of perfection, his speed had increased by at least 5 times compared to before. Before coming to Luori Prefecture, Su Jingxing had climbed over the 1,000-meter cliff on the outskirts of the valley where the big white goose was without any leverage. He charged to the top at one go. This time, it was the same. Su Jingxing followed the route marked on the map and ran swiftly along the mountain face. Looking down from the sky, he was like a flying snake slithering stealthily along the mountain face. He kept going, forward and forward. He covered more than 100 kilometers, resting 3 times in between. Su Jingxing finally found the location of the 9 steps Trampling Heaven's secret manual, a cave covered with vines. The cave was more than 700 meters above ground, and there were vines all around it. Su Jingxing spent half an hour to find it. He took out his treasure weapon and executed the 3 Origins saber art. He split open the dense vines that covered the entrance of the cave and instantly shot 5 throwing daggers into it. He didn't hear any abnormal echoes, and neither did Advanced Hearing pick up any extra noises. Su Jingxing then flashed into the cave. He stood at the entrance and activated night vision, getting a clear look of the area. He discovered that the cave was very deep and it extended downwards. Since he was already at this step, Su Jingxing naturally would not be timid. He retrieved the throwing daggers and held them in his hand, ready to fire at any time. After walking through the pathway for more than 10 minutes, he came to a karst cave that was flickering with green light. The cave was huge, about 2 football fields. Su Jingxing moved to a high point and scanned the surroundings. He then realized that the source of the green light was a type of crystal. Under the illumination of these green lights, the karst cave presented a unique scene. Activating Advanced Hearing, he listened to his surroundings and heard scorpions, centipedes, ants, and other species moving around. Su Jingxing ignored them and searched for the 9 steps Trampling Heaven's secret manual in the cave. According to the hints, the secret manual was placed in a special box. Su Jingxing activated night vision and distant vision to scan the area. 10 minutes later, he found a dark brown wooden box in a pile of sunken green crystals. He picked up the wooden box and opened it gently. A strange fragrance wafted out. Su Jingxing held his breath at once and looked into the box. Indeed, he saw an old secret manual. 5 ancient words were written on it. 9 steps Trampling Heaven. Found it. Su Jingxing was overjoyed. He didn't hurry to look through the contents right away. Instead, he closed the box, put it into the storage space in his palm, and returned the way he came. After returning to the cave entrance, he continued to execute the 8 steps Rising Dragon and dash in the direction he came from. Su Jingxing only heaved a sigh of relief when he stepped onto the ground again and found the hidden motorcycle. He got on and opened the box to let out the smell. Su Jingxing couldn't be sure if it was poisonous or not. After the smell had dissipated, he then picked up the 9 steps Trampling Heaven's secret manual and flipped through it. Su Jingxing remained grinning. True energy internal exercise. He had guessed correctly. The 9 steps Trampling Heaven was indeed a high-level martial art that could cultivate true energy. Among them, the words, Trampling Heaven, came from one of the most terrifying mutated beasts on Earth Star. Heaven Trampling Elephant. The Heaven Trampling Elephant was not a mutated beast that elephants turned into after getting infected by the beast spirit devil insect. According to the records, the Heaven Trampling Elephant had a very long history on Earth Star. It could be traced back to the ancient era tens of thousands of years ago. It was a mutated species of the world in its true sense. It did not evolve from ordinary elephants. The real heaven-trampling elephant was born with innate divine powers and was immune to physical attacks. At adulthood, it reaches a height of 10 meters and would be immune to everything. Physics, energy, the tangible and intangible. Wind, rain, thunder, lightning, water, fire, poison, everything. This was not all. Other than being immune to everything, the heaven-trampling elephant could also counter gravity and walk in the air. Walking in the void like walking on flat ground. In the end, it could even go berserk and transform into a 100-meter-tall giant demon elephant. That was the true pinnacle, the god of death who destroyed everything. Destroying cities and countries was child's play. It could break even the continental plates. Against this mutated beast, even a first-grade martial artist could only escape. Of course. The universe was fair. An unbelievably powerful ancient variant like the heaven-trampling elephant was extremely difficult to reproduce. Although they have very long lifespans, almost 1,000 years, a male and female heaven-trampling elephant might not even be able to conceive after 900 years together. Even if they do, they would only have one child. Therefore, since ancient times, there have been very few heaven-trampling elephants, and the number of people who had seen them was even lesser. The Wei family's ancestors were fortunate enough to have encountered them. This talented ancestor of the Wei family had actually created a martial art by observing the heaven-trampling elephant. That was the 9 steps trampling heaven. Every internal exercise had its own attribute. It was either blazing like fire, ice-cold like frost, peerlessly sharp, or as heavy as a mountain. Or perhaps impervious to all poisons, grand and imposing, extremely domineering, righteous and peaceful, wet to the bone. The 9 steps trampling heaven had its own attributes. Weight. Simply put, the heaven-trampling true energy cultivated through it was extremely heavy. This heaviness was not only limited to the weight of a mountain. The characteristic of being heavy as a mountain belonged to the earth attribute. It was stable and imposing, and its strength had its limits. In theory, there was no limit to the heaven-trampling true energy. This was because the heaven-trampling elephant that it was imitated after could superimpose its strength infinitely. The heaven-trampling true energy did not have any other special characteristics, only that it could continuously strengthen. The amount of weight that could be added was equivalent to the amount of true energy available. With such true energy, even without the augmentation of a fist art, a single punch could easily shatter a car, destroy a house, or blow up a human body. Of course, it was not easy to cultivate the heaven-trampling true energy. Firstly, without an extremely powerful physique, there was no need to even think about it. Secondly, one also had to have Herculean strength, whether born or bred. Finally, when absorbing the first strand of worldly energy, it had to be at the point where yin and yang intersected in the wee hours of the morning. If missed, one would have to wait again. All 3 conditions must be met. Su Jingxing checked the first 2 boxes, and the third was the time, so it did not affect him much. The 9 steps trampling heaven was an ultimate technique that could bring one to the 3rd grade. Not all true energy internal exercise could not necessarily help one advance to the 3rd grade. The majority of true energy internal exercises could only allow a martial artist to reach 4th grade at most. Su Jingxing carefully flipped through the 9 steps trampling heaven and discovered that it could bring him directly to 3rd grade. This saved him a lot of trouble. When he flipped to the last few pages, Su Jingxing was even more speechless. This ancestor of the Wei family was too amazing. On the last few pages of the secret manual, there were actually 2 more secret abilities. One was the demonic elephant stomp. Through visualizing the demonic heaven-trampling elephant diagram, manifest a heaven-trampling elephant in one sea of consciousness, suppressing everything, including martial art true intent. Martial art true intent was a powerful ability that only 3rd grade experts could grasp. It could interfere with reality using one's mind. The demonic elephant stomp is actually able to suppress it. It was unknown if it was just a bluff. This secret ability belonged to a defensive ability. However, if one had enough soul power, they could also release it externally and kill other people's souls. That's right, while secret abilities were great and very powerful, they were extremely difficult to cultivate. Only those with extremely powerful souls would be able to do so. Night vision and distant vision could be activated using internal force. But the demonic elephant stomp consumed soul power. The other secret ability was slightly better. It targeted the physical body. Demonic elephant physique. As the name implied, this secret ability could change one's physique. Once activated, one's size would instantly double, and strength would increase by tenfold. In the demonic elephant physique state, one's defense was invincible. Although it was not as exaggerated as the giant demon elephant whereby it would be immune to everything, one could still be immune to the attacks of the spirit weapons and most true energy attacks. It was just as difficult to activate. One's physique had to reach the limits of the human body. If one activates the demonic elephant physique when the strength of his physical body had not reached the limits of the human body, their body would explode on the spot. Even at the limits of the human body, one still had to eat at least 10 vitality supplement pills after transformation. Otherwise, they would be extremely weak for 3 days. Su Jingxing was not afraid of this. He had already reached the limits of the human body. As for the vitality supplement pill, it also was a body-tempering pill. Unlike other pills, the vitality supplement pill is very gentle in the process of tempering one's body. It would slowly stimulate and increase one's strength. The strength pill could do the same. Therefore, Su Jingxing could transform into the demonic elephant physique right now if he wanted. He just didn't know how many strength pills was equivalent to a single vitality supplement pill. Su Jingxing had to do some tests when he got back before he could transform. Otherwise, if he was extremely weak for 3 days, even a little brat would be able to kill him. Compared to the 9 steps trampling heaven, the demonic elephant physique was an unexpected gain. He could use it immediately as a trump card. As for the demonic elephant stomp, visualizing the demonic heaven trampling elephant diagram was too difficult. Even though Su Jingxing could increase his soul power by eating the spirit accumulation pill, so far, he had only extracted a few requiem cards. He didn't know how long he would have to wait until he had the demonic elephant heaven trampling diagram in his mind to manifest the heaven trampling elephant. Therefore, Su Jingxing temporarily threw this secret ability to the back of his mind. After returning, I should try to cultivate the heaven trampling true energy first. That is the right path. While in thought, Su Jingxing flipped to the last page of the 9 steps trampling heaven. Suddenly, Su Jingxing's gaze froze. Blank. The last page of the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual is blank too. Similar to the 8 steps rising dragon, there were no records on it. No way. Su Jingxing's heart started beating faster. Is this for real? On the last page of the 8 steps rising dragon secret manual, the location of the 9 steps trampling heaven was recorded. Now, the last page of 9 steps trampling heaven was similarly blank. Could it contain some secret? This is extremely likely. Su Jingxing could not help but think more about it. The 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual had already allowed him to obtain a true energy internal exercise that will move him directly to 3rd grade, as well as 2 powerful secret abilities. If the concealed content on the last page also contained a secret, wouldn't that be even more outstanding than the 9 steps trampling heaven and the 2 secret abilities? The ancestors of the Wei family are too good at hiding things. 7 steps fist, 8 steps rising dragon, 9 steps trampling heaven, and there's more. Su Jingxing sighed. But it does not mean that the contents concealed on the last page of the 9 steps trampling heaven secret manual is definitely martial arts. It could also be a map that noted the location of the treasure. Or an extremely important secret that outsiders have no way of knowing. Or perhaps it is a high-grade pill formula, a spirit weapon forging technique. It might even be empty. A prank left behind by the Wei family's ancestor, and there is no secret at all. All sorts of possibilities. To uncover this secret, I have to meet the big white goose. At this thought, Su Jingxing carefully examined the 9 steps trampling heaven's secret manual. After confirming that there were no other discoveries, he put it into his palm space. Then, he sped towards New Fate City on the motorcycle. Back in the city, he found a repair shop and sold the motorcycle at half price. He then hacked into the aviation center at the internet cafe and bought the earliest flight ticket before heading straight to the airport. He only heaved a sigh of relief after boarding the plane. If nothing crops up, I will be back in Qinghe City tomorrow night. I'm just afraid that something might happen midway. The first flight safely arrived at its destination. All was also well on the first half of the journey after the transit. During the latter half of the journey, they encountered turbulence, but passed through safely. Another transit, the last flight. This time, Su Jingxing's luck seemed to have run out. The plane was finally targeted by an avian mutated beast. Dear passengers, we have encountered avian mutated beasts on this flight. Please be prepared. Dear passengers, we have encountered avian mutated beasts on this flight. Please be prepared. Dear passengers. In the quiet cabin, the loudspeaker repeated 3 times before stopping. During the first broadcast, Su Jingxing looked around and saw all the passengers calmly bringing up the safety packages placed under their seats. They took out goggles, mask, gloves, helmet, and a parachute bag and put them on. Throughout the entire process, no one screamed, shouted, or panicked. Su Jingxing followed the crowd to take out the package and strangely put on the various equipment. This was Earth Star. If this was Earth, the cabin would have been in a state of panic. For the people of Earth Star, they were mentally prepared for danger before they boarded the plane. If there was an accident midway, such as the plane getting attacked by the avian mutated beasts, resulting in an explosion or crash, the airline would not provide compensation. Before boarding, everyone was to sign a waiver. After boarding the plane, their life and death were in their own hands. Compared to Earth, the chances of aviation disasters occurring were many times higher on Earth Star. Almost every month, they would encounter incidents of avian mutated beasts attacking planes. Of course, when they really encounter such incidents, the plane would not just be at the mercy of the attacks. While Su Jingxing was putting on his equipment, the cargo hold at the bottom of the plane suddenly opened on both sides and 4 drones flew out. The 4 drones were fully extended in the air. They looked exactly like giant birds, their wingspan was more than 10 meters. Under human manipulation, they quickly flew forward. Halfway through, let out resonant bird chirps. 4 drones was equivalent to 4 giant birds chirping. They turned to the left side while chirping. After pulling away from the plane, the chirps became louder and louder, stimulating a huge eagle with a wingspan of 100 meters that was about to attack the plane. The eagle heard the calls and its sharp eyes turned cold. It looked away from the plane and fixed its gaze on the drones. Then, under the watchful eyes of the crowd, it turned around and chased after the drones. Lure the avian mutated beasts away. This was one of the plane's response strategies. Other than that, it was facing the enemy head-on. Earth Star's planes were equipped with heavy firepower. For this reason, the planes were exceptionally large. If a fight really were to start, they would request for help from the nearest air base. Every day, fighter jets from the air bases of each prefecture patrol in the sky. With this threefold measure, while planes still get attacked, the probability of crashing and exploding was not high. It only happened once or twice a year. Sometimes, only once every 3 to 5 years. Therefore, safety was quite assured. All passengers on the planes were essentially martial artists. They rarely panic when they encounter attacks. Of ordinary people, those who dared to board planes were all bold people. When the plane was out of danger and the situation was reported, Su Jingxing could not help but sigh again. That's really. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Ha! Su Jingxing was stunned. Someone had died. We weren't attacked earlier on. How did someone die? Yes. Su Jingxing responded inwardly with a strange expression. Just as he was about to activate his secret ability, advanced hearing to listen to the movements inside the cabin. F***CK, how did this guy die? Cabin crew, someone has died here. 3 rows behind Su Jingxing, a young man stood up and called out with a gloomy look. On the seat beside him, a fat middle-aged man had his head bowed. He had stopped breathing. He's really dead. What happened? Didn't the attack never happen? Ha, he must have some illness to begin with. And he got himself killed because he was too nervous. Why are you taking a plane when you're so seriously ill? Isn't that courting death? The passengers on the left and right glanced at the dead fat middle-aged man and began to discuss. The attack did not come, but the man was dead. This fat middle-aged man was really unlucky. Su Jingxing looked behind for a moment and looked away before the cabin crew came over. Since the person was already dead, they had to deal with it. As for cremation, they could only wait until they reached their destination before sending him to the local crematorium. Su Jingxing didn't take out the card he extracted. The rest of the journey was safe and sound. No accidents happened and they arrived at Qinghe City safely. After getting off the plane, Su Jing walked into the washroom and entered a cubicle before taking out the card and reading the description. Requiem card. Requiem card? That fatty died from shock. Su Jingxing was speechless. It seemed that the person on the plane was right. The fat middle-aged man who had died was ill, severely ill at that. And he still dares to take planes. How speechless. He unlocked the card and got 2 spirit accumulation pills. Su Jingxing put them away and walked out of the bathroom. It was already past 11 p.m. when he returned to the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. He ate some food and washed up before going to bed. The next morning, he woke up early and rushed to the Green Cloud mountain range. After entering the mountain range, he dug out the red-scaled porcupine's tusks and put them in his palm space. Then, he familiarly climbed over the 1,000-meter cliff and arrived at the valley where the big white goose lived. It was still early, so Su Jingxing did not go down into the valley immediately. Instead, he used his treasure weapon to cut out a flat area on the inner slope of the cliff to use a breakthrough point. In order to break through to the 6th grade, one had to choose a place filled with worldly energy. The worldly energy in the valley was enough for Su Jingxing to absorb. Only, as there were a lot of poisonous creatures in the valley, Su Jingxing chose to have the spot on the slope. GGA. A familiar call came from the valley. When Su Jingxing looked up, he saw the big white goose spreading its wings and flying towards him from the sky above the valley. Yo, you discovered me so quickly. Su Jingxing arched his eyebrows and his consciousness reached into his palm space. He brought out 10 essence energy pills and kept them in his palm. When the big white goose reached the slope and descended from the air, he tossed them gently. Brother Goose, catch. Su Jingxing threw the essence energy pills. Ga. Ga. The big white goose's eyes lit up. It swooped over and swallowed all 10 essence energy pills in the air. Then, it landed on the flat ground that Su Jingxing had cut out, flapping its wings and crying out excitedly. Strangers the first time, friends the second. The last time Su Jingxing came, he had gotten along pretty well with the big white goose. In the end, when he was eating the essence energy pills to ease his fatigue, the big white goose flapped its wings and expressed that it also wanted some. While feeling surprised, Su Jingxing happily fed it a few pills. The big white goose liked it very much after eating it and asked for more. Su Jingxing naturally satisfied it. Great that it likes me, wonderful that it likes me. When they get closer, the big white goose would probably be willing to follow Su Jingxing without needing an invitation from him. Therefore, Su Jingxing was eager to see the big white goose and build their relationship. Essence energy pills, he had stored a large pile of them. In the beginning, he still had to rely on selling it to get money. Now, Su Jingxing was not short of money anymore. Compared to the essence energy pills, the big white goose as a spiritual pet was more important. The big white goose that landed on the platform seemed very happy to see Su Jingxing again. It opened and closed its bill, honking constantly. Even though Su Jingxing didn't understand, it didn't stop him from guessing and making various gestures. A man and a goose started a strange conversation. In the end, after communicating for a long time, Su Jingxing really began to understand some of the big white goose's cries. Similarly, as a spiritual beast, the big white goose also understood some of Su Jingxing's words. This made the man and the goose rather delighted. You call out while I gesture and speak, and we will continue to communicate without fully understanding each other. In the evening, Su Jingxing decided to try to make the big white goose glow. After half an hour of talking and gesturing, the big white goose finally understood what he meant. A burst of silvery white glow bloomed from its body and covered half of the slope. It can glow without having to fall asleep. Su Jingxing was pleasantly surprised. He had, with a tentative attitude, wanted to see if the silver white glow could be controlled by the white goose's consciousness. Unexpectedly, it could. Brother Goose can also shine while awake. This made things more convenient. In his excitement, Su Jingxing took out the 9 Steps Trampling Heaven's secret manual and flipped to the last page. Whoosh! Indeed, as he had guessed, there was a secret hidden on the last page. Su Jingxing took a deep breath and carefully read the contents of the last page. Gaga. The big white goose leaned over and stretched its neck, also examining the glowing page. Su Jingxing couldn't care less about it. He looked at the diagrams and ancient characters on the page. Holding his breath, he memorized every word with rapt attention. The more he read on, the more serious his expression became. His pupils dilated and his breathing became heavier. At the end, his heart was beating so fast that it was about to jump out of his throat. It was not martial arts. The hidden content recorded on the last page of the 9 Steps Trampling Heaven was not martial arts, nor was it a secret ability, a pill formula, or an important secret. It was a passage and a map. The map showed the way to a land of peril that was not in the U-Nation. It was in the north of the U-Nation, in a dangerous region that separated 2 large countries. The accompanying message was about the hazardous region and the perilous area within it. However, what truly visibly moved Su Jingxing was one sentence inside. Although the treasures in the land of peril can help one enter the transcendent grade, do not go there without entering first grade. Remember. Remember. What does this mean? Firstly, there is a treasure in the land of peril that the map pointed to. Secondly, this treasure can allow a martial artist to advance to the transcendent grade. Thirdly, before reaching first grade, one must not head there. Transcendent grade. There is actually a realm above first grade. Transcendent grade, transcending first grade. It was the first time Su Jingxing was learning that the 9 grades of martial arts was not the end. There was an even higher realm above first grade. Transcendent grade. And the land of peril indicated on the map actually contained treasures that could allow one to advance to the transcendent grade. The impact of this piece of information was too great. Su Jingxing had asked the ethereal sword immortal before, but she had no idea either. Now, through the hidden content on the last page of the 9 Steps Trampling Heaven, he unexpectedly discovered this shocking piece of information. If it weren't for the fact that Su Jingxing's soul power had been strengthened and his receptivity had been enhanced, he would most likely be at a loss right now. Even so, his heart was pounding involuntarily like a drum. Only after a long while did he calm down. Taking a deep breath, he placed the manual back into his palm space. The transcendent grade realm has existed since ancient times, but no one knows about it now. Is it because no one in the future generations has stepped into that realm? Su Jingxing fell silent. Ethereal Sword Immortal was unaware, perhaps because she came from an ordinary family. But those large factions that have existed for hundreds or even thousands of years should also know of the existence of the transcendent grade. Yet it hasn't been spread, they must have selectively forgotten about it. After all, it was already very difficult to advance to first grade, let alone above it. If this sort of thing had been cut off for 1,000 years, who would still remember that there is a realm above the first grade? Only by reading the relevant ancient books would one know. Of course, there is one possibility. That is that the transcendent grade real still exists in the present world, but few people know about it. As such, the public gradually forgets about it. Earth star was huge, more than 10 times larger than Earth. Earth alone contained countless secrets that had yet to be fully explored. Not to mention Earth star. According to what Su Jingxing knew, other than the boundless mountain range, there was still a third of Earth star that was in a desolate state. In such a large territory, are there any transcendent grade powerhouses living in seclusion? Su Jingxing's heart raced. Deep breaths, calm the mind. Su Jingxing threw these distant thoughts to the back of his mind. I have not even reached the first grade, yet I'm thinking about the transcendent grade. It's too unrealistic. The contents of the 9 steps trampling heaven had repeatedly reminded that one had to enter the first grade before heading to the land of peril. Then I shall advance to first grade first. As for now, I have to condense the heaven trampling true energy before anything else. After making the decision, Su Jingxing let the big white goose fly away from the empty space. Swallowing all the spirit accumulation pills, he then began to attempt to break through to the 6th grade. 9 steps trampling heaven referred to gathering all the internal force and strength in one's body within 9 steps. In the newly opened Dantian, one would merge with them with the unique strand of vital energy and guide the worldly energy to eventually give birth to true energy. In this process, absorbing worldly energy was the final step. Before dawn arrived, Su Jingxing attempted the preceding steps repeatedly. When the time came and Su Jingxing sensed the yin and yang energies in the universe surge and change, he officially launched his breakthrough. He failed the first time. He failed the second time. The third, still a failure. The 4th time. The 25th attempt still failed. The period of yin-yang intersection was about to end. Su Jingxing, who was completely immersed in his cultivation, was suddenly enveloped by a milky white glow that descended from the sky. As the glow landed on his body, a flash of inspiration suddenly appeared in his mind. He guided the vital energy in his dantian to revolve rapidly. Then, he absorbed and blended a wisp of worldly energy from this time period into it. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Hoo hoo hoo. A strong wind seemed to be sweeping past his ears. Within his withered and empty dantian, a silvery black air current was successfully born as the vital energy, internal force, and worldly energy blended. When true energy is born, the 6th grade has been achieved. In the last few seconds of the yin-yang intersection, Su Jingxing absorbed worldly energy and successfully advanced to the 6th grade. Of course, the big white goose had been a great help. Even though Su Jingxing was immersed in his cultivation, he could still sense the abnormalities in the outside world. At the last moment earlier, a strange energy had enveloped his entire body. With its help, the increase in soul power gave Su Jingxing's mind a boost of inspiration, and he ultimately succeeded in absorbing the worldly energy. Su Jingxing had sensed this same strange energy before. It was the silvery white glow emitted by the big white goose. So that he was able to advance to the 6th grade this time, internal force, the spirit accumulation pills, a physique at the limits of the human body, the 9 steps trampling heaven, and the big white goose, none was disposable. As such, once Su Jingxing opened his eyes, he immediately searched for the big white goose, planning to thank his brother goose. Yet, within his sight, there was no sign of the big white goose on the slope. Doing a good deed without leaving its name? No, something is wrong. For some reason, Su Jingxing felt his heart skip a beat. He stood up and used the 8 steps rising dragon to descend the slope and arrived in the valley. In the growth of grass next to the slope, he searched quickly and as expected, found the big white goose lying motionless. A colorful snake as thick as an adult human's thigh with a triangular head was slowly approaching the big white goose. Swish! Su Jingxing threw out a throwing daggers. Blood splattered as the throwing dagger struck the snake's head, killing it on the spot. Su Jingxing walked over quickly and picked up the big white goose to check on it. Firstly, it wasn't dead. Secondly, it was severely depleted of energy. Finally, its spiritual beast aura had disappeared. No wonder the snake dared to come close and try to take advantage of it. The disappearance of the spiritual beast aura is equivalent to being severely injured. In order to help me, the big white goose has paid a huge price. Su Jingxing sighed and carried the goose back to the platform on the slope. He sat down cross-legged and took out 10 essence energy pills. He crushed them into powder using his internal force and fed it into the mouth of the unconscious goose. Then, he guided the powder into its stomach. After that was done, he placed the big white goose on the ground and carefully sensed for changes in its vital energy. There was nothing unusual at first, but soon, the spiritual beast aura of the big white goose started to recover. Although it was still weak, it was good that there was some recovery. Su Jingxing kept guard at the side the whole time. When the big white goose finally woke up, he heaved a sigh of relief. He took out another 10 essence energy pills, placed them in his palm, and passed them to the big white goose. Su Jingxing said sincerely, "Brother Goose, thank you." Ga. The big white goose called out weakly and stretched its neck to swallow the essence energy pills. "I won't say anything else. Anyway, as long as I have something to eat in the future, I won't let you starve." Su Jingxing gently stroked the big white goose's white wings and promised seriously. Ga. The big white goose cocked its head to the side and called out in confusion. "It's fine. You just need to remember that we're best friends." Su Jingxing smiled. Ga. The big white goose cried with all its might and flapped its wings. "Yes, good friends." Su Jingxing chuckled. During the exchange yesterday, Su Jingxing had already discovered that the big white goose was very innocent. It seemed to have just gained sentience and had never come into contact with any humans before Su Jingxing. As such, when it first encountered Su Jingxing, it hid in the dark and observed him secretly. When Su Jingxing realized how powerful it was, and wanted to befriend it, they got close very quickly. Su Jingxing had no other intentions. Otherwise, it would have been easy to coax it away. The good thing about being sincere in befriending it was that the big white goose had been a great help this time. Without it, Su Jingxing didn't know how long it would take for him to advance to the 6th grade. Compared to the efforts of the big white goose, the few essence energy pills were really not worth mentioning. In the latter half of the night, Su Jingxing did not cultivate much and kept the big white goose company. When the sun rose, Su Jingxing fed the goose 20 more essence energy pills. When its spiritual beast aura had recovered and it could fly in the sky, Su Jingxing then bade farewell and left. For the time being, Su Jingxing didn't want to bring the big white goose out of the valley. He also reminded the big white goose not to fly out by itself. The reason was simple. Su Jingxing was not powerful enough. Even though a 6th-grade martial artist could be considered a high-level figure in the Qinghe city, he was still not one of the best. It was not enough to protect a spiritual beast. In addition, the white goose's innate divine power wasn't in combat. If it were to head to Qinghe city, once exposed, it would surely be seized by others. For this reason, it was safer for it to remain in the valley. Back at the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain, Su Jingxing casually ate some food before circulating the 9 steps heaven trampling to condense more true energy. The 9 steps trampling heaven had a total of 9 levels. Although Su Jingxing had already produced a strand of heaven trampling true energy in his dantian, when it came to mastering this internal exercise, he was merely a beginner. The speed at which the introductory stage of the 9 steps heaven trampling condensed true energy was extraordinarily slow. Thankfully, Su Jingxing did not intend to condense his true energy in this courtyard at the foot of the mountain. If he really wanted to do so, he would only go to the valley where the big white goose was. The valley was where the worldly energy was abundant. Presently, the source of Su Jingxing's true energy was not the worldly energy, but internal force. With the internal force that filled his body, Su Jingxing had intermittently accumulated 100 years of cultivation. Now that true energy was born, there was no longer any need to store the internal force. It was more suitable to convert it into true energy. The process was not difficult. Under the guidance of the 9 steps trampling heaven, in less than half an hour, all his internal force was converted into heaven trampling true energy. I have 1 year of cultivation. 100 years of cultivation in internal force when covered into true energy, became only 1 year. This ratio was very low. The ethereal sword immortal had once said that it was usually 10 years of internal force to 1 year of true energy. 10:1. But it was 100:1 for Su Jingxing. This was proof of the might of the 9 steps heaven trampling. 10:1 was for normal internal exercises. The conversion rates for high-level internal exercises were very low. Other than internal force, Su Jingxing also had a true energy card. The remaining true energy card contained 2 years of cultivation, and had no attributes. Su Jingxing unlocked it and absorbed the true energy before converting it into heaven trampling true energy. He discovered that not a single trace of it leaked out, and 2 years of cultivation had been successfully converted. That is great. However much cultivation the true energy cards extracted contained can be fully converted. If my true energy cultivation is high enough, even if my cultivation realm is beneath others, I would still be able to crush them through my cultivation. Su Jingxing, who had suddenly gained 3 years of true energy cultivation, rubbed his hands happily. At night, Su Jingxing disguised himself as Yang Jian and put on his cloak and mask. He first went to one of Wan Rong's secret rooms and took $10 million of dirty money. Then, he headed to the black market and bought 3 vitality supplement pills for testing. 1 vitality supplement pills was priced at 500,000 great US. Ordinary martial artists could not afford such body-tempering pills. Su Jingxing bought 3 of them and ate them one by one to compare it to the effects of the strength pill. He discovered that a single vitality supplement pill was equivalent to 100 strength pills. After transforming into the demonic elephant physique, he would need to eat more than 10 vitality supplement pills. In other words, if Su Jingxing wanted to transform, he had to prepare 1,000 strength pills. I initially thought that I'll just keep the strength pills to prevent myself from being exhausted. I didn't expect it to be so useful now. Su Jingxing sighed. Not only was the vitality supplement pill expensive, it was also selling very well in the market. There were many rich martial artists in Qinghe City. For example, the ordinary juniors of the Shi family would usually eat the vitality supplement pill like candy. Under such circumstances, the vitality supplement pills was often sold out as soon as it appeared. The 3 pills that Su Jingxing bought at night were the last 3 in the apothecary. The shop owner said it would be 1.5 months before the next batch of vitality supplement pill is put on shelves. Wasn't this worrying? With such a long time, it would be enough for Su Jingxing to accumulate 1,000 strength pill by extracting the strength enhancement card. Extracting cards didn't require a single cent, and they were available almost every day. In comparison, Su Jingxing found it more comfortable to stay at the crematorium and move corpses. Before his leave ended, he went back to work. Gu Bo gave him lots of praise for that. Compared to Feng Taijian, who was always thinking about playing, Su Jingxing was simply an excellent employee. Sigh, little Sue works hard so that he can earn more money and raise his Rongrong. I don't need to raise anyone, so why work so hard? In the cafeteria, Feng Taijian complained as he ate, I'm a single man. I have so much money every month. What's the point of keeping them? If I don't play around with it while I'm still young, do I wait till I'm old to go look for girls? If that happens, I'm afraid I'll be strong in will but weak in power then. Big thumbs up for Brother Jian. I support you too. That's right, you must go wild while you're young. Ha! When the surrounding people heard Feng Tiejian's words, they began to cheer and laugh. Gu Bo looked helpless. And Su Jingxing was speechless. Rongrong? Rongrong has long been burnt to ashes. Ridiculous logic. Continue to fool around. Sooner or later, you will regret it. Gu Bo said unhappily, Little Su, you must not learn from him. This rascal has a belly full of twisted logic. He just doesn't have proper knowledge. I agree. Feng Taijian smiled. Little Su, if you learn from me, your Rongrong will probably run away. Of course, if you want to have a change of taste once in a while, you can come to me. I'll introduce someone to you, you'll definitely be satisfied. As he spoke, he even winked at Su Jingxing. Get lost. Gu Bo was rather speechless as he scolded, if you want to harm people, go look for someone else. Don't come for Little Su. Yes, Little Su is a good child. Brother Jian, don't lead him astray. Even though Little Su is still a child, he already has a girlfriend, but I'm still single. Is this embarrassing? You do feel embarrassed too. Ha ha ha. Everyone broke out in laughter again. The crematorium staff were on good terms with each other and rarely had conflicts. Therefore, they got along very well. As they chatted and laughed, the group finished their lunch and then dispersed. Some returned to their dormitory to rest and others heading into the city went to the public bus stop. Su Jingxing naturally went to the working area with Gu Bo. There were also people from the other departments with them. They chatted and laughed as they walked through the entrance of the crematorium. A group of people rushed out from a corner of the square straight ahead. The ruckus was very loud. What's going on? Gu Bo frowned and quickly walked over. Su Jingxing and the others followed behind without hesitation. As they got closer and heard the commotion, they realized that people had broken into the crematorium to seize a corpse. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Su Jingxing responded inwardly, but he remained calm on the surface. He stood at the fringe of the crowd and looked at the 5 men with imposing auras. They ignored the workers of the crematorium who were stopping them and walked straight to the entrance with a corpse in their hands. Surprise flashed through Su Jingxing's eyes. Shi Yan Kai. The corpse that had been snatched away by the 5 men was named Shi Yan Kai. It was none other than the member of the Shi family who had used the twin-pupil demon hound to scam Su Jingxing. That fellow is actually dead. The body was collected by the corpse collection team when someone else called the crematorium's customer service. In the end, less than half an hour after they arrived at the crematorium, these 5 men had rushed in and forcefully seized the corpse. The leader of the group was a man with an aquiline nose named Shi Yenkang. He was the most ruthless. The people who blocked his path were all injured by him. As a result, everyone only dared to surround them and did not dare to go close. While Su Jingxing was observing, the crematorium director, Wu Shuhan finally rushed over and shouted from afar, "Let them go! Let them go!" But director. No buts, let them go. Wu Shuhan ordered with a grim expression as he strode over. Yes. When everyone heard that, they could only make way for Shi Yenkang and company to leave. At least there's someone who knows his place. Shi Yenkang snorted lightly and glanced at Wu Shuhan. Without saying anything else, he beckoned at his subordinates who were carrying the corpse bag and walked towards the entrance. Uncle Wu, why did you let them go? Gu Bo looked at the backs of Shi Yinkong's group of 5 and frowned. If we don't cremate the corpse as soon as possible, are we going to wait for it to turn into a corpse puppet? Even if they are from the Shi family, they have to abide by the iron laws. Don't worry. They'll send it back. Wu Shuhan said in a low voice, the Shi family has always had this practice. The body must be examined by the family before it is sent to the crematorium to be cremated. Is that so? Gu Bo wondered. Su Jingxing was also puzzled and couldn't help but ask, could it be that the Shi family wants to find the murderer through the corpse? Oh right, how did this Shi Yankai die? I hear it's from anger. Kong de Bao, who had not gotten off work yet, answered from the side, the people who went to collect the corpse heard from the person on the phone that Shi Yankai suddenly went crazy on the streets and was shouting away. Then, he got overly agitated that he died on the streets. Su Jingxing was speechless. What cause of death is this? Shi Yankai died from being too angry and agitated? This fellow was always trying to scam others. His mental fortitude was extraordinary. Of course. If he was really angered to death, then I might have extracted the Requiem card. At this thought, Su Jingxing gathered his thoughts and stood at the side. After everyone ended the discussion and dispersed, he went to the bathroom, entered a cubicle and took out the card. Holding it in his hand, he read the description. The content had Su Jingxing's expression changing slightly. It was not a Requiem card, but a new card. Bloodline card. The card he extracted from Shi Yankai's corpse was actually a bloodline. 3 candles blood. Looking at the information, this 3 candles blood was both special and powerful. The strength lay in the person possessing this bloodline. In the cold lands, their cultivation speed would be extremely fast, 10 times faster than ordinary martial artists. After condensing true energy, a cultivator could even remain underwater for a long period of time and be unharmed. He could move about in the water for 10 days to half a month without worrying about suffocation. The special part was that those who possessed the 3 candles blood would not live long. At most, one would live for 49 years before his blood freezes and he freezes to death. No. Suddenly, Su Jingxing thought of the Shi family and frowned. If I remember correctly, the current patriarch of the Shi family is already past 50 years old. Not to mention the ambitious and ruthless patriarch head of the previous generation. He's almost 80 years old and still alive. If they have the 3 candles blood, why didn't they die? Would the 2 patriarchs of the Shi family not have the 3 candles blood? 99%, they do. The combat ability of the patriarch of a martial art family clan was the foundation. If one's combat strength was lacking, no matter how outstanding one's abilities were, one would not be able to become the patriarch. Even if he does manage to become one, he would not be able to hold the position for long. The logic was simple. The people below would not be convinced. For example, would a 4th-grade martial artist listen to the whims of ordinary people? Most would not. A small part would, but because of other reasons. This was especially so for the patriarch. If his own strength was insufficient, he wouldn't even know when he has been assassinated by the enemy forces. Finally, the Shi family's ultimate technique, the true energy internal exercise, cold smoke mantra, combined with the 3 candles blood made a perfect match. Not only would the cultivation speed be fast, the might was also stronger. The 2 patriarchs of the Shi family had no reason to refuse it. Not to mention that it wouldn't make sense that Shi Yankai, who was also an abandoned and useless junior of the Shi family, had the 3 candle blood yet the patriarchs do not. Therefore, the 2 patriarchs of the Shi family do have the 3 candles blood. The reason they were able to achieve their current strength was most likely due to this bloodline. Besides, the information provided by the bloodline card would not be wrong. As long as one has the 3 candles blood, it was inevitable that one would not be able to escape to abilities and limitations of the bloodline. There must be a reason why the two patriarchs of the Shi family, including the other members of the family who have passed the age of 49, are still alive. The move to seize Shi Yinkai's corpse might be related to this secret. Su Jingxing played with the card, deep in thought. The function of the bloodline card was the same as the skill card. Once unlocked, it could be absorbed directly. Su Jingxing could instantly obtain the power of the 3 yin candles' blood. Of course, he would also inherit the disorder of only living till 49 years old. It was better not to have such a bloodline. When it came to cheating, Su Jingxing was not afraid of others. After playing with it for a while, Su Jingxing put the card back into his palm space. While Su Jingxing was curious as to how the Shi family would solve the problem of the 3 yin candles' blood, he did not intend to delve into it. After all, the flaw of the bloodline was only targeted at the members of the Shi family. It could not affect outsiders. In the afternoon, Su Jingxing took over from Kong de Bao. He moved the corpses diligently and extracted cards. After taking a week off, Su Jingxing's partner had changed. The crematorium's corpse collection team had many members. They had newcomers joining them every month. Of course, there were also people leaving. Not many people survived the 6 months of internship. The partners in each group were therefore not fixed. Su Jingxing's new partner was a man of few words. Basically, if Su Jingxing did not ask, he would remain silent. After an entire afternoon, Su Jingxing figured out the other party's personality and was content and happy. At night, he continued to move the corpses and extract cards. Now, Su Jingxing stored up the essence energy cards and strength enhancement cards. He would unlock them when he got home. He would put the essence energy pills and strength pills obtained in their respective jars for use. Just like the internal force card, when he accumulates 100 years of cultivation, he could convert it into a year of heaven trampling true energy. Of course, compared to the internal force card, Su Jingxing preferred the true energy card. Unfortunately, very few 6th-grade martial artists died. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. Corpse discovered. Would you like to extract it? Yes. The boring yet happy days lasted for several days. He had already accumulated 400 essence energy pills and 350 strength pills. The latter was still a good half away from his target. Only after gathering 1,000 strength pills and transforming into the demonic elephant physique would he have no worries. One morning, Su Jingxing was about to get off work when he suddenly received a notification to go into the city to collect corpses. The location was a branch of the Black Tiger Gang. That's right, another branch of the Black Tiger Gang had been wiped out. Su Jingxing, who was rushing to his destination, sat in the car and was speechless for a while. Hasn't Duan Feihong and his people been arrested? How did the Black Tiger Gang target it again? And another branch was annihilated? What an unlucky year. This year is clearly the Black Tiger Gang's year of calamity. Never mind if they do survive, but if they don't, the Black Tiger Gang will most likely be wiped out. The driver sighed. It's normal. Underground gangs don't last long to begin with. Every few years, a new batch will be formed. Sigh, while they change batch after batch, we will be the ones tired. That's right. It's almost time to get off work, but we still got dispatched. Speaking of which, is there anyone guarding the Black Tiger Gang's branch at this time? Who knows? Maybe the culprit had had his eye on it for a long time but only made a move in the early hours. The corpse collectors who were dispatched started discussing among themselves. At 2 or 3 in the morning, there shouldn't be many people left behind in the branch. However, when the Martial Suppression Office called the crematorium, they requested for 3 teams to collect the corpses. There was clearly something wrong here. Although Su Jingxing did not say anything, he was still curious. However, compared to other people's complaints, Su Jingxing was happy. The common people would only be happy if the gang members were dead. To Su Jingxing, each time the Black Tiger Gang loses a branch, he would reap a bountiful harvest. If possible, it will be best if the Black Tiger Gang is wiped out. Cough. Cough. The corpse transportation truck sped along the empty streets in the early morning. Soon, they arrived at the destroyed branch of the Black Tiger Gang. When they arrived at their destination, Su Jingxing and company finally understood why the Martial Suppression Office had asked for 3 teams. Because this time, it was a group of people who attacked the branch. Dressed in black, their faces were covered. Everyone's weapons were the same. A horizontal blade to the Tang Dao, they were all semi-treasure weapons. These people began fighting against the Black Tiger Gang's men who were guarding the branch. In the end, a total of 35 Black Tiger Gang members, including the branch master, were all killed. The men in black also left behind 16 corpses. Their companions could not take them away in time. From what the people from the Martial Suppression Office related, the commotion from this battle was extremely small. Not many people in the vicinity had noticed it, and there were no special silencers on the scene. In other words, the 35 people from the Black Tiger Gang who were guarding the branch seemed to know that someone would come to visit tonight. This was interesting. One side launched a sneak attack in the wee hours while the other was waiting. In the end, the Black Tiger Gang lost. What kind of dispute was this? The highest-ranked official from the Martial Suppression Office that was here immediately carried out an investigation. While Su Jingxing was moving the corpses, he activated his advanced hearing to listen. He really did hear something. To snatch a treasure. The Black Tiger Gang had recently obtained a unique treasure. This was originally a top secret, but it was unknown who leaked it first, and the news spread. Needless to say, it attracted people from all circles to inquire about the Black Tiger Gang. After confirming the news, they immediately began to seize it. The head of the Black Tiger Gang was unwilling to let it go just like that, so he assigned his subordinates to guard against other people coming to them. This was not the first wave. Prior to this, the other branches of the Black Tiger Gang had already encountered the infiltration of people from all circles, and they had already started a head-on clash. However, Ouyang Qinhu had not expected the people who had stayed behind to guard the branch to be completely wiped out. You didn't think of that? You're just greedy. Daos are moderately curved and single-edged. The Chief of Control of Martial Suppression Office Western District Branch, Sun Yi, stood at a corner of the street, away from the Black Tiger Gang branch. He shouted lowly at the ashen Ouyang Qinhu, "Do you think you are the patriarch of the Li family? You dare to take anything and everything home? Is this your first day out here? Do you not know the principle of only taking as much as you can handle? Since you don't have the ability, how dare you be greedy? Don't know how to spell the word death, do you? Humph, don't make it sound so nice. If it were you, you would be the same." Ouyang Qinhu said coldly. Sun Ye's eyes turned cold, and he growled, "Although I don't know what you got, if I didn't force and threaten you to come clean, I wouldn't even know the reason behind this. But don't forget Ouyang Qinhu, who you relied on to get to where you are today. In any case, it's not you." Ouyang Qinhu sneered. "Heh, it is indeed not me. But, I am able to affect that person." Sun Yi grinned and said sinisterly, "I just want to remind you that you, Ouyang Qinhu, have yet to obtain true freedom. You can choose not to hand over what you have obtained, but if something happens, don't look for us." Ouyang Qinhu's face darkened and his expression turned grim. "Why? Are you afraid now?" Sun Yi said disdainfully, "Do you think that with that little bit of capabilities of yours, you can defend what you have? The last 3 times you blocked the attacks, did you feel invincible? Did you think nothing of everyone else? How is it now? Have you tasted fear? I'm not afraid to tell you that the people who came tonight still aren't the best. The real assassin group hasn't entered the field yet. If you think you can hold on, then continue to do so. When all of your branches are destroyed and you're dead, I'll help you to bury you. Don't worry, when that day comes. Enough. Ouyang Qinhu growled and interrupted Sun Ye's threat. He gritted his teeth and said, I can hand over the item, but it has to stay in my hands for another month. Sure. Sun Yi lightly smiled. I'm not in a hurry. Even keeping it for a year isn't a problem, let alone a month, as long as you can hold on to it. Half a month. Ouyang Qinhu took a deep breath. Ha, big brother, do you think that everything can be bargained for? Sun Yi sneered. That's right, you can bargain with me, but do you think that person will be willing? 3 days. Ouyang Qinhu said weakly, 3 days at the most, I will definitely hand it over. Very good. Sun Ye's brows arched. I believe I can help you get 3 days' time. Within these 3 days, there will be news that the item has reached my hands. You just need to do the rest of your work well. With that, he turned around and walked away. In the corner, Ouyang Qinhu was the only one left standing in the shadows. His expression kept changing. Su Jingxing, who was carrying a corpse in the branch more than 80 meters away, had an equally odd expression on his face. What a big piece of gossip. As the head of the Black Tiger Gang, one of the 2 big underground gangs in the Western District, he was actually in cahoots with the Chief of Control of the Martial Suppression Office Western District Branch. Both men took orders from another person. It was that person who made Ouyang Qinhu the head of the Black Tiger Gang and built them up to ultimately become the biggest gang in the Western District alongside the Flying Cloud sect. Su Jingxing could even imagine that the Flying Cloud sect had a backer too. Otherwise, the Black Tiger Gang wouldn't just be one of the 2 big gangs, but the only biggest gang in the Western District. Su Jingxing had expected the gangs to have backers. What Su Jingxing didn't expect was that as a chief of control of Martial Suppression Office, he would actually obey the orders of another. This was a bit unexpected. This piece of gossip tonight was very satisfying. But on second thought, it was understandable. Because most of the people in the Martial Suppression Office were locals. Other than the commander of city governance, which was sent by the U-Nation's capital headquarters, and the commissioners of defense who were sent by the prefecture city. The commissioners of command and chiefs of control were all locals. As locals, they naturally have connections with the local forces. This situation was not only limited to Qinghe City, the same went for the other cities. It was precisely because the people lower down the chain that were executing orders were involved with other factions that the Martial Suppression Office could only suppress them on the surface and not do so completely. After figuring this out, Su Jingxing no longer bothered about Sun Ye's two-faced personality. In comparison, he was even more curious about the treasure that Ouyang Qinhu had obtained. A rare treasure that the various factions would compete for. What could it be? Su Jingxing had no idea who had infiltrated the other branches of the Black Tiger Gang. But tonight, these men in black were all martial artists. A large group of 9th-grade martial artists and 8th-grade martial artists, under the leadership of a 6th-grade martial artist, attacked the Black Tiger Gang's branch. This resulted in the total annihilation of the people who stayed behind to keep guard. Men of such capabilities were not people that ordinary powers could dispatch. From this, it could be seen that the item in Ouyang Qinhu's hands was extremely rare. To be honest, Su Jingxing also felt a little tempted. But he quickly suppressed it and regained his composure. Not that he was afraid of Ouyang Qinhu, but that he didn't have the courage to test his skills. The commotion caused by this treasure was too big. All the major factions in the Western District had mostly likely sent people to keep an eye on it. If Su Jingxing were to jump in, his real identity might be exposed. He still wanted to stay at the crematorium to continue extracting cards. He did not want to be exposed right now. For this reason, Su Jingxing suppressed his agitation. Of course, it was not good to participate directly, but it was fine to pay attention in secret. Especially Ouyang Qinhu's whereabouts. Su Jingxing decided to monitor his whereabouts after returning back. More than 50 bodies were carried back to the crematorium. Their information was registered and the order of cremation was arranged. He worked until the morning and took care of everything. Su Jingxing just got off work and returned to the small courtyard at the foot of the mountain. He ate an essence energy pill and counted his gains. Internal force card, internal force card, internal force card, strength enhancement card, internal force card. 51 cards were all checked. He realized that most of the cards were internal force cards. There were only a few strength enhancement cards. There were also 2 skill cards. One was a saber art and the other was a palm technique. Su Jingxing read the relevant information and carefully comprehended them. He realized that both were inferior to the 3 origins saber art and the 7 steps fist, so he didn't unlock them and directly put them into his palm space. The only true energy card was not bad. It contained 5 years of cultivation. The internal force cards were unlocked, and all the internal force combined had at least 103 years of cultivation. Su Jingxing decisively converted all of it into heaven-trampling true energy. That was equivalent to gaining 6 years of cultivation overnight. Including the original 3 years, Su Jingxing's current cultivation had reached 9 years. This speed was something that other martial artists didn't even dare to imagine. Even the members of the Shi family who possessed the 3 yin candles blood wouldn't be able to achieve. Su Jingxing was overjoyed. He turned on his computer and hacked into the traffic cameras. Starting from the location of tonight's destroyed branch, he locked onto Ouyang Qinhu's whereabouts. Unexpectedly, he soon had a surprising gain. According to the footage, after Ouyang Qinhu left the branch, he went straight to a bar. There were cameras inside the bar, monitoring all corners. Su Jingxing hacked in and used the cameras to continue locking onto Ouyang Qinhu. In the end, he found that Ouyang Qinhu went straight to the basement. Even though there were no surveillance cameras in the basement, Su Jingxing still spotted a woman's face through the camera at the entrance at the moment the door opened. Shen Xinlan. Who was Shen Xinlan? The head of one of the 2 biggest gangs in the western district of Qinghe City, the Flying Cloud sect. Although she was a female, she was vicious and merciless. Her nickname was Poison Scorpion. There were at least 80, if not 100 people who have died in her hands. Ouyang Qinhu, as the head of the Black Tiger gang, was actually meeting her in secret. This was very surprising. Su Jingxing took a picture of the footage and compared it carefully, confirming that the other party was Shen Xinlan. For a time, he did not know what to say. Anyway, the amount of tea was growing. The Black Tiger gang and the Flying Cloud sect were archenemies who had never stopped fighting each other. Ouyang Qinhu and Shen Xinlan, who were their respective heads, were actually meeting in secret. Was it a hookup? Or a collusion? No matter which it was, once exposed, it would cause an uproar in the entire Qinghe city. If it weren't for the fact that the surveillance footage only captured one image and he lacked conclusive evidence, Su Jingxing would have wanted to be the one to do the exposing. Even so, he was filled with gossip and speculated about their relationship. Unfortunately, there were no surveillance cameras in the basement. When Ouyang Qinhu left in the morning and returned to the Black Tiger gang's headquarters, Su Jingxing ended his stalking. From the conversation between Sun Yi and Ouyang Qinhu, one could tell that the item in Ouyang Qinhu's hands was safe for the coming 3 days. As such, Su Jingxing no longer kept an eye on him. Moreover, there were very few surveillance cameras in the headquarters of the Black Tiger gang. There were no cameras in Ouyang Qinhu's office or the training room. I haven't gained much from watching him the whole time. Su Jingxing only needed to confirm Ouyang Qinhu's whereabouts. Secretly monitoring, not always monitoring. After all, he still had to go to work. Su Jingxing knew this very well. The next day, he arrived at the crematorium and continued to move corpses. It was unknown how Gu Bo made the arrangements, but Kong de Bao was back as his partner. Kong de Bao was very happy about this, but Su Jingxing was indifferent. The two of them were busy at first. When they were free, Kong de Bao invited Su Jingxing to play games together. However, just as they pulled out their phones, they heard a commotion coming from the front. Kong de Bao, who thought that something had happened again, quickly called for Su Jingxing and ran over. When they arrived at the venue of the incident, the farewell ceremony hall, they realized that it was trouble for the crematorium. Instead, a conflict had occurred between the relatives of the deceased. Among the two groups of people, one was led by a robust man in his 30s. He had an imposing manner and was arrogant. On one side was a beautiful young girl. Not only was she extremely beautiful, her figure was also very outstanding. Her temperament was also exceptional. Although she was wearing mourning clothes, it was difficult to conceal her gorgeous figure. However, facing the man on the other side, she didn't have a strong aura. The man in his 30s didn't relax just because she was pretty too. Su Jingxing listened for a moment and figured out the source of the conflict between the two. He asked curiously, Yu Shinmo didn't make it clear before his death. Who will inherit the dojo? Who knows? Kong de Bao shrugged his shoulders and watched the show gleefully. Yu Shinmo doesn't have any children of his own. One of them is his eldest disciple, and the other is his goddaughter. In terms of relations, neither of them is weaker. Without Yu Shinmo's personal words, there would be no way to conclude this conflict. That's true. Both parties claim to be in the right. Without concrete evidence, if they wish to inherit the dojo, capabilities will decide the final ownership. Su Jingxing agreed. Needless to say, Du Liangjing will definitely win. Kong de Bao grinned and said, Du Liangjing is a 7th grade martial artist, while Yu Miaodong has just reached the 9th grade. What will she use to go against Du Liangjing? Su Jingxing remained silent. The two groups of people arguing in the farewell ceremony hall were from the White River Dojo. The White River Dojo was quite famous in the Western District. The owner of the dojo, Yu Shinmo, was a 6th grade martial artist when he was alive. The robust man in his 30s was called Du Liangjing. He was Yu Shinmo's eldest disciple. The beautiful girl's name was Yu Miaodong, Yu Shinmo's adopted goddaughter. Yu Shinmo's sudden death, without a will, led to Du Liangjing and Yu Miaodong fighting over the ownership of White River Dojo. If it were not for the fact that it was almost time to cremate Yu Shinmo, the two of them might have already come to blows. Although Yu Miaodong was not as strong as Du Liangjing in terms of realm, there were many people in White River Dojo who were in support of her inheriting the dojo. It was precisely because of the support of these people that Yu Miaodong dared to confront Du Liangjing head-on. Since ancient times, adopted daughters automatically gain the right of inheritance when their parents have no descendants. Du Liangjing, if you want to compete with me for the dojo, please get your identity clear before talking to me. Yu Miaodong stood at 1.73 meters tall, facing Du Liangjing who was slightly over 1.7 meters tall. She wasn't inferior. Her gaze was sharp as she spoke in a firm tone. Haha. Du Liangjing chuckled. The one who should do that is you. You're merely Master's adopted daughter, while I'm Master's eldest disciple. When I first became Master's disciple, many seniors of the Western District were present to witness it. I've never heard of a goddaughter inheriting a Master's inheritance. On the contrary, it's perfectly justified for a disciple like me to do so. Du Liangjing's voice was especially loud at the end. That's right, a disciple is a son. No matter where you go, the status of a disciple is on the same level, or even higher than the Master's children. Junior Sister Yu, we address you as Junior Sister on Master's account. If we're really talking about it, you're not a member of our dojo. Master has never recruited you into a dojo before. How are you qualified to inherit the dojo then? What are you saying? If Junior Sister doesn't have the right, do you? That's right. Disciples can indeed inherit Master's legacy, but Master's disciple isn't just Du Liangjing. We are his disciples. Why is it that this right is given to Du Liangjing? What's so outstanding about him? What qualifications does he have to represent us? What are you talking about? Master values eldest senior brother the most. If he doesn't inherit, who will? Bullsh *T. Master never said that he would have Du Liangjing inherit the dojo. He planned to give it to junior sister from the start. Where's the evidence? Do you have proof that Master gave the dojo to junior sister? Then do you have proof? If you don't, what are you saying here? Huh, what a joke. You clearly don't have the qualifications, yet you're here stirring up trouble. Master's corpse hasn't even turned cold, yet you're willing to disregard the friendship between fellow disciples to get the dojo. Huh, so you guys do know that Master's corpse isn't cold yet? What do you mean? I mean what you think I mean. Why? Do you want to fight? Come on then. Do you think I'm afraid of you? It was noisy with constant clamoring. Two groups of people, one supporting Du Liangjing and the other supporting Yu Miaodong, were arguing in the farewell ceremony hall. The others did not step forward to stop them. They stood aside to watch the show. The crematorium's security team was keeping guard at the side to watch the situation. Before Su Jingxing and Kong Debao arrived, the security team had stepped in to get them to argue outside. However, the two of them ignored them. They didn't come to blows either, they only moved their mouths. In addition, there weren't many people in the hall, so they let them argue. While they were doing so, Su Jingxing approached Yu Xinmo's body and extracted a card. Su Jingxing, who was in no hurry to take it out to read the description, walked back and continued watching the show. At the same moment. Tong Tong, I'm sorry I'm late. A gentle voice sounded. At the entrance of the hall, an imposing and handsome young man ran in. Young Master Shi. Young Master Shi, you're finally here. The group of people behind Yu Miaodong either waved or shouted excitedly when they saw the young man enter. Yu Miaodong's eyes lit up as joy appeared on her face. Her beautiful eyes flickered as she said gently, Yan Feng, you came just in time. My dad is still here. That's good, that's good. The handsome young man heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that. Then, he straightened his body and said solemnly and respectfully, I'll go say goodbye to Uncle first. Thank you, young Master Shi. Come, this way please. A middle-aged man stepped forward with a smile on his face. Sorry for the trouble. The handsome young man nodded and followed the middle-aged man towards the corpse to bid goodbye. Humph. Those who stayed behind all lifted their chins and looked arrogantly at Du Liangjing and his gang, who had now suddenly shut up and seemed very uncomfortable. What's going on? Su Jingxing, who had taken in from the beginning to the end, leaned close to Kong Debao and asked in a low voice. What else could it be? Yu Miaodong found a powerful backer. Do you know who that fellow is? Kong Debao asked softly. I don't. Su Jingxing shook his head, even though the handsome young man looked a little familiar. His name is Shi Yanfeng. Shi Yanfeng? From the Shi family? Su Jingxing raised an eyebrow. That's right. Kong Debao revealed the information he had gathered. After Shi Yankai died and his corpse was brought back, I went to Director Wu and learned some information about the Shi family, especially the direct descendants. It was only then that I learned that Shi Yankai's father lost the struggle, and he had lost to Shi Yanfeng's father. This Shi Yanfeng is not only handsome, but also very talented in martial arts. Of course, he is also very good in the arts. His score in the cultural exam alone was enough for him to enter Shantian University. He is even more outstanding in martial arts. He is only 18 years old this year and is already a 7th grade martial artist. TSK, not many people in the history of Qinghe City have been able to reach the 7th grade at the age of 18. It's said that Shi Yanfeng is currently charging towards the 6th grade. If he advances to the 6th grade within 2 years, then he'll set a new record. He will be the youngest 6th grade martial artist in the past 100 years in Qinghe City. Although it sounded a little weird, Kong Debao was right. Su Jingxing knew his own talent. Without using the cheat ability, even 9th grade would be difficult. Let alone 6th grade. Shi Yanfeng was adept with both the pen and the sword. He was handsome and came from a prominent family. His character seemed pretty good for now. He was polite, humble, and did not appear lofty at all. Such a young and handsome talent, it was wonder Yu Miaodong would bow down to him. The people around her supported her because they were aware of this. Yu Miaodong had hooked up with Shi Yanfeng. With Shi Yanfeng as her backer, what could a mere 7th grade martial artist like Du Liangjing amount to? Right, I wonder if Shi Yanfeng has the 3 Yin candles blood. Su Jingxing thought to himself. An 18-year-old 7th grade martial artist. The chances of him having the 3 Yin candles blood should be 99%. While he was in thought, Shi Yanfeng had completed his farewell and returned to Yu Miaodong and Du Liangjing. Tong Tong, what are you two doing? Shi Yanfeng looked at the two of them confusedly. Nothing, it's just that eldest senior brother wants to inherit the dojo. My father's corpse is still here, yet he has already come forward eagerly, wanting to get the dojo, Yu Miaodong explained gently. Du Liangjing opened his mouth to explain. However, Shi Yanfeng did not give him a chance. He frowned and said, that doesn't make sense, Tong Tong is uncle's daughter. Logically and legally, Tong Tong is the one who inherits the dojo. Senior brother Du, how can you snatch it? Especially fighting with Tong Tong for the dojo in front of uncle's corpse, that's even more inexcusable. Du Liangjing was speechless. His supporters were speechless too. Shi Yanfeng clearly supported Yu Miaodong. What could they say? What would they dare to say? If they were not wary of Shi Yanfeng's background, why would they quarrel with Yu Miaodong at Yu Xingmo's farewell ceremony? It was because knew that there was a high chance of meeting Shi Yanfeng in the dojo. Du Liangjing did not expect Shi Yanfeng to come to the crematorium. Looking at this gesture, Shi Yanfeng clearly doted on Yu Miaodong. As the young master of the Shi family, Shi Yanfeng could have as many women as he wanted. Without him saying anything, countless beautiful women would come knocking on his door. Now, for Yu Miaodong, he had personally come to the crematorium to send her father off. This showed how much Shi Yanfeng valued Yu Miaodong. D*Ned B*Tch. Du Liangjing cursed silently. The more Shi Yanfeng valued her, the less likely he was to win. He did not understand. With Shi Yanfeng's capabilities and qualities, did he have to pamper a woman like this? Su Jingxing was also curious. Although Yu Miaodong was beautiful, Shi Yanfeng did not lack beautiful women. For Yu Miaodong, he had personally come to send Yu Xingmo off. Has this guy really fallen in love with Yu Miaodong? Su Jingxing was puzzled. After watching Du Liangjing and company leave with their tails between their legs, he turned around and left the farewell ceremony hall. Forget it. Whatever it was for, it had nothing to do with him. Su Jingxing excused himself to go to the washroom. He entered a cubicle and took out the card he had extracted from Yu Xingmo's corpse. Holding it in his hand, he read the information. Yu Xingmo was a 6th grade martial artist, so there was a high chance that the card extracted would be a true energy card or a skill card. But after reading it, Su Jingxing was stunned. Deduction card. Another new card. The deduction card, as its name suggested, when unlocked, would grant Su Jingxing the ability to deduce martial arts for a short period of time. This ability included checking for loopholes to make up for the deficiencies, using the old to build the new, removing the drawbacks, combining them into one, and so on. For example, Su Jingxing only had half of the mental cultivation technique for the Earth Origin volume of the 3 Origins Saber Art. However, by using the deduction card, there was a 10% chance of completing it.